Elementary Youth YMCA from Detroit, Michigan. This is 8th through 12th grade, and we're doing a college tour.
Okay, welcome. So are everyone on your spring break? Yeah. Okay, Michelle, on spring break. Back here?
We're from Yonkers, New York. I'm a junior.
Okay, and what's the name of your group?
What's that?
Okay, that'll work too. Well, my name is Whitney Phillips, and like I said, I am a representative from the Office of Admissions. I'm responsible, and I'll wait, I'm responsible for recruiting students from areas such as New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama. The students that I primarily deal with are high achieving students, so that means our scholarship students. So I'm basically the scholarship recruiter for the university right now. A little bit about Howard University. Can anyone tell me anything they know about Howard University?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay, that wasn't the obvious. I thought you did something different. Anybody else? It's black? Okay, we are a historically black college and university. We were founded in 1867. We were founded during a time where there weren't many opportunities for African American students to receive an education. We were founded during a time where, so many people wanted to be doctors and lawyers and teachers, and they had these great desires, but the opportunities, unfortunately, did not exist. So between some time, 105 HBCUs were founded to give these opportunities where desire was. So our job right now is to basically reignite the desire in students to want to go after an opportunity to get degrees in higher ed. Right now, Howard University is the largest historically black college university that is comprehensive. What that means is that you can get your bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate degree, and professional degree all from Howard University. Right now, we have about 11,000 students on total, 7,000 of which are in our undergrad programs. We have 6 schools and colleges that encompass our undergrad programs, meaning your bachelor's degree. Does anyone know what they want to major in yet? Okay, psychology, education, maybe just one.
Mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Psychology.
Psychology, yes sir.
Business administration.
Okay.
Marketing.
Marketing.
Political science.
Criminal justice. Okay. Every single major you all mentioned, we do have available at the university, and some graduate programs in those as well, especially business. We'll get more into the majors as we go forward. I'll let the students describe what majors they're in. You can ask them questions about the class sizes and how it is to actually be a student in the classroom. Right now, as far as our admission requirements, we do not have a posted minimum or maximum GPA, ACT, SAT requirement. What we use are averages. So the average freshman coming in has a 3.2 GPA. It is cumulative and it is unweighted, meaning we're not considering your PE course or your elective course. It is unweighted at 3.2 GPA. Also, we look at your SAT score. We're looking for an SAT score on average of about a 1070. 1070 is just your verbal and mathematics sections only. So we do not consider the writing portion when it comes to evaluating you for admission. And then if you take the ACT, we are looking for a 23 or better average. So because it is an average, the closer you are to the average, the more likely you are to be admitted to university without conditions. But it is not a minimum or maximum. So what does that mean? It means that we admit students above that average and right beneath, depending on the individual student. As far as our scholarships, they do, however, start at 3.0 GPA. So if you have a 3.0, an 1170 on the SAT, and a 26 on the ACT or higher, that will make you eligible for our scholarship. We do not have a separate application for our scholarship. So once you apply for admission, if you're eligible for a scholarship, you're automatically recommended for that scholarship. No other paperwork that you'll have to do. Any questions so far? Ma'am.
For students who go to Catholic school, do you take out the religion classes when you do the GPA?
Yes, so the reason why we recalculate the GPA is because everyone's rigor or everyone's coursework is different no matter what high school you go to. So in that reason, an A at your school may be equivalent to a C somewhere else. Some people take AP classes, some people are in the IB curriculum. So with that being said, to give a fair snapshot of the student's GPA. That's the reason for us recalculating. And sometimes, especially if the student has a higher test score and they have a GPA of maybe a 2.5, we'll recalculate it to make sure that that is accurate, so we can make sure they are admissible. Any other questions?
How much is it like? How much is it here in college? Like how much is it?
Tuition?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, our average tuition is roughly $30,000. That is tuition, room and board, fees. No, not books. So with that, it's roughly around that. So that's why it's really important to look into scholarships, not just the scholarships that Howard offers, because for my office, we only offer merit-based scholarships. So what that means is that we only look at your GPA test score. We don't look at your community service. We don't look at anything else but your merit. There are other scholarships that we can take into consideration, if you write Virtue That Can, if you are, the oldest of 10 siblings, if you are a female in engineering. So there will be other scholarships that you can take advantage of. The key is to do your research when it comes to finding out who will offer you the most money. It's not enough to just get into a college. You want to get in and hopefully make the college pay for you to come. So you have to make yourself competitive too. What does that mean? This year we received over 11,000 applications. How many students do you think we can take to fill our freshman class? 2,000? We can fill a class of 1,600. So out of the 11,000 applications, we can only fill a class of 1,600 students. So that means that you have to find a way to make yourself stand out from the person sitting next to you right now. So on your application, it does matter, your essay doesn't matter. Your letters of recommendation. Make sure the person you ask will give you a positive recommendation. I've seen some negative recommendations saying why they don't think the person will be ready for a college course. But that just comes from the person not asking the right questions when it comes to the person, the recommender. So just make sure you find a way to make yourself unique, make yourself appealing, and that comes with internships while you're still in high school, volunteer opportunities. If you have, a church group that you're a part of, all that counts. So as far as our admission requirement or what you have to submit, all we require is your application, an application fee of $45. You do not waive applications. Also, 2 letters of recommendation, one from a counselor, one from a teacher, your transcript, your essay, and the resume is optional. The resume will just have your community service if you've done it. With the essay, we do not have a prompt. So it is up to you to decide what it is that you want to write on with your essay. Do you have any questions?
What division is this school for athletics?
We're Division I.
Just for application purposes, you need the community service and all that, because you don't count that in acceptance.
Right.
Correct?
So what happens is we look at a holistic review. The first thing that we look at is your GPA test scores. If for some reason there's not a balance, we have a lot of students who test well but have low GPAs, or do great in school but are not great test takers. So with that being said, it's not an accurate depiction of their ability once they come here as a student. So that's when we will pull in the essay or the resume. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
How competitive is your volleyball team and you give out scholarships on sports?
You want me to answer sports questions?
Hello everyone, my name is Olivia Butler. I'm a sophomore marketing major here at Howard University. I'm also a former cheerleader, so I know a little bit about athletics. With regards to our sports teams, we do give scholarships for volleyball. I don't know the details of that, but I know a lot of times they recruit. So if not, you might want to send a tape or go talk to the coaches in Burr and see how that process works. The cheerleaders do not have a scholarship. A lot of the dance teams don't have scholarships. Is there anybody else who has questions on sports, specific questions? I don't know how to just give an overview, per se. No questions? We do have a we do have a football team. Our football team, they just recently got a new coach. Their record is improving. They offer scholarships. The majority of our football players here at Howard University depends on like how you were recruited and how much tuition is covered.
Do y'all have a swim team?
We do have a swim team, men and women.
Division?
I believe all of our sports are Division I.
How did you guys soccer team?
Our soccer team is pretty good. Our soccer team is actually one of the better teams here at Howard University. So, although their record is not perfect, it's still pretty good. Like they had a pretty good record. And a lot of students actually go out to the soccer games. Like soccer games are fun.
Now the key with playing a sport on a college campus is that you do have to submit your information to the clearinghouse, the NCAA clearinghouse. No student can participate in an on-campus sport, no matter what school you want to play, if you do not submit your information. If you guys, girls, are not familiar with that site, make sure you go online, look up the NCAA clearinghouse. Because no matter how great of an athlete you are, no matter how much Howard University wants you to play for us, if you are not cleared by NCAA, then you cannot play on a collegiate level. So it's very important that you look at the guidelines and look at the GPA requirements, the ACT requirements, all of that. And if you're not familiar with it, from this day going forward, you are now aware that you do need to look into the NCAA clearinghouse. Yes, ma'am.
What is your minimum GPA to stay in?
To stay in, we will put a student on, yes, probation. Yes, ma'am. So I think it's below 2.0, if I'm not mistaken. Any other questions? Ma'am. For the scholarship or for admission? Okay, so for our scholarship, there's not an essay requirement. For admission, it can be a topic of your choice. A lot of students will write about how they can be an asset to universities, why they want to go into the major they have chosen, a particular time where they had great leadership experience that will prepare them for leadership here at Howard. So it's really up to the student to determine, what type of essay they want to write. Another important thing that I want to mention is that in reviewing the applications, when we have your application in front of you, we no longer have you. All we have is the paperwork to determine your eligibility for admission. So that means that your presentation of the paperwork has to be stellar. When it comes to, it being typed, when it comes to it being packaged correctly, because that's all we have to base our, view of you on. Yes, you were well-spoken, you were articulate, but when I'm back in my office evaluating your application, I no longer have that well-spoken, articulate young lady in front of me. So with that being said, your email addresses is a very, very, very important thing when it comes to college applications or just applications in general. So when you're sending your email, when you're sending your application, I don't want to see Big Booty 1234 at yahoo.com. Or I don't want to see Holler at your boy 535 at AOL.com. You are laughing, but this really happened. So what does it say about the applicant applying for college? Does it say they're a serious person? Not serious at all. So when you apply, realize that I no longer have you in front of me. I no longer have your parents in front of me. All I have is Hot Girl 125 in front of me. And it's the same to someone that's not really serious about her education or what she is doing. So if you all do not have email addresses you're proud to say right now, I'm not going to ask anyone to disclose that information because we probably have a nice time session. If you have an email address that is like that, I do recommend that you get another email address that is for professional use. This email address will have your first name, last name, or your last name, comma your first name, first initial, something that will just be plain and simple. We don't need the actual email addresses. Any other questions?
Now, you say you have counsel for incoming freshmen. What about current students, sophomore, juniors?
So as far as our housing, the students are on a RSVP point system. And the students can explain to you more, so let's instruct you ladies. You all can explain how that kind of works as far as the point system here. All freshmen do have to apply for housing. Our deadline for that is May 1st. By May 1st, you have to pay your enrollment fee in housing. For continuing students, it's before for that so they can guarantee that they have housing as well. But they can just explain to you the process. Before I turn it over to the students, because they will kind of go over any type of fun things that you all have questions about, student life, housing, cafeteria, anything like that, because these are women who actually are on the campus every day experiencing that. And I want to give you a biased statement about that because I'm not a student. But I will say the key to finding the perfect college for you is determining what you're looking for. I mean, just like you go shopping in a mall, you're trying to find the perfect outfit. The perfect outfit for you may not work for me at all. Pink is not my color, but it looks phenomenal on you. So it's the same thing. We're shopping around for a campus. You know, do you want a campus that's open? Do you want a closed campus? Do you want to feel like, you know, you're the only person in the classroom, where you have a great relationship with your professor? That's up to you. Or do you want a big classroom where you're the last 4 digits of your social? Some people like that. So you just have to determine what your fit is. And that just comes to doing your research, not taking my word for it, not taking our brochure or website's word for it, just really researching to determine if the school is a perfect fit for you. So does anyone have any final questions before I turn it to our student ambassador? Ma'am. Some are. So I will let them answer storm questions. Right now, our student-teacher ratio is 10 to 1. So for every 10 students on the campus, 1 professor is represented. So no class size, on average, is over about 24 students. In your core curriculum classes, or the classes that most students will need to take, there will be more students in that class. But again, it will give you opportunities to be a close-knit classroom experience. Yes, ma'am, in the back? Yes.
Do Howard University undergrads have any special advantage or special programs? They're looking at pre-professional programs such as medicine or law or
Yes.
engineering?
So one of the programs that we do have is a BSMD program. So that program is a 6-year program. After the 2nd year, the student will receive their bachelor's degree in biology. The 3rd year going through is where the student will continue in the MD program. So that is the one program that we do have, where it's a dual degree program. Where entering freshmen are only eligible for that program. So a transfer student is not eligible for that program.
So would the entering freshmen have to apply specifically to that program?
Yes,
or-
you apply for admission and also apply to the program, and there is an interview process through that program.
A quick comment on the freshman parking. Freshmen are allowed to bring their cars, however, they're not allowed to enter the parking lottery. So it's not advised that you bring your car because you won't, have a parking space. Except on the street. Street parking.
All right, if there aren't any other questions for, sir. Yes, so there are a lot of resources for you for additional help on campus, especially depending upon what school or college you're involved in, meaning what college your major is under. No, ma'am.
Are there any, specific programs that's offered for the arts, like music?
Yes, ma'am. We do have a college for arts and sciences, and we also have fine arts as well. So if she's interested like in theater or vocal performance music or instrumental, we do have availability for that. But we just have to contact that department specifically to get more information.
And production engineering? Production engineering?
No, ma'am.
There's some audio.
Audio? Is it audio engineering?
No, there's an audio production.
Okay.
How well is your education?
Our School of Education is the smallest program on our campus. So the one major in the School of Education is human development. The reason for that is that we try to encourage education majors to complete their master's degree in the specific field that they're going into. So the general major is human development. It is the smallest major, but that means that there are sometimes additional funding for those specific students in that major.
Do you have a communications major?
Yes. Are you interested in print, broadcast? Okay. We do
pre-law major. And some students who are also interested in pre-law, they can look into the School of Communications, which also offers a legal communications program. That's what I'm trying to offer.
As far as like in like the business administration part of you guys curriculum or whatever, do you guys have internships and stuff like where you guys can go like in that major you can go and work at like a job in the field that you want to be in?
Yes.